Chelsea against Spurs. Now, Antonio Conte and Thomas Tuchel, they kind of stole the headlines. For American fans, the headline was Christian Pulisic, who did not start again, Herc, for a second straight game. He came on in the 85th minute, so only got a few minutes of playing time. This amid reports from The Guardian about 4 or 5 days ago that Thomas Tuchel, quote, does not trust Christian Pulisic. So with all that, Herc, as our background, is right now, and when I say right now, I mean right now, with only 2 weeks left in the transfer window, so you know it's going to be a rush deal, is now the time, with 3 months to go to the World Cup, for Christian Pulisic to leave Chelsea Football Club.
It was 2 weeks ago, not right now. It was 2 weeks ago. It was that urgent of a move. Do you remember when he was here with Chelsea in Los Angeles and we went out to interview him? I interviewed him 1v1 and I framed a question about trust, Thomas Tuchel's trust in him. And I said, sometimes it's tough for a player to break that pattern, to break the habit. They still see you as that young player when they give you your debut. And his body language spoke volumes to me. So this is now what we're seeing, the reports about the trust, and now we're seeing the little playing time he has been receiving. He's got to go, and he's got to go now. He's got to be the guy knocking on the manager's door. He's got to be asking the manager. He's got to be asking the front office, the board, whoever it may be, his release, his transfer. And quite frankly, it's not even debatable.
Can I be honest? I don't really believe these reports that Thomas Tuchel doesn't trust Christian Pulisic. He played him in a Champions League final. He's played him in huge games. To say that Thomas Tuchel doesn't trust him. Now, Thomas Tuchel doesn't trust him or isn't going to play him as a starter, that's a different conversation. I think it's clear, right? We look at that roster. You see Mount, you see Sterling, you see Havertz. It's unlikely that Christian Pulisic is going to play. To me here, Herc, there's kind of a showdown going on between what Christian Pulisic needs in the short term, which we all understand 90 days from the start of the World Cup is playing time, and lots of it, and a significant role, and probably even more specifically, playing time in his favored position, which he's not getting right now at Chelsea. But I think long-term, Herc, there is a future for him at Chelsea. I don't think it's crazy to suggest that even if Tuchel isn't the manager to get him to that successful future at Chelsea, he might outlast Thomas Tuchel. I don't think we've ever heard Christian Pulisic complain about being at Chelsea. There's plenty of evidence for me to suggest that he is happy there. He's won a Champions League. And I think also what we have to acknowledge here is it's a guy who has a lot of potential and has had success there when he's been able to play. I don't think I'm ready to pull the plug on Christian Pulisic at Chelsea just yet. But if you do believe that now is the time, that it is an urgent matter, let me suggest this. Don't make it a permanent move. Don't rush a permanent move with 2 weeks to go in the transfer window. Make it as a loan. So whether it's a loan or whether it's permanent, Herc, where would you have him end up?
By the way, you can't just say you believe he's at the right place and just let it skim by like that. You can't just say he trusts him and neglect the fact that he doesn't play him lately and he doesn't look happy when he's coming on, and that when he has played, it's not been in his preferred position. It's been as a right wing back. Don't just skim through that. You conveniently left all that out. All right, I agree with you. This is where I do agree with you. Let's not get hasty here. Let's not make it a rash decision that affects the rest of your life, because where do you go from a Champions League winner contender? Where do you go for a team that's a big four, that's going to be fighting for titles, regardless of what people want to say about City or Liverpool? Like, Chelsea is a team that can realistically fight. That is the truth, okay? And they're big players, big team. That's where you want to be. You're not going to go anywhere else. I mean, what do they pay? Over $70 million transfer for him? You're just going to let him leave like that? No, they're going to want to recuperate some of that money. You have to pay his wages too. Who can realistically take that over? Initially, I thought to myself, Juventus. But Juventus isn't going to pay that. Juventus isn't going to come close to that. It's not going to be that type of situation. We've heard this before. And Newcastle has been in the tip of a lot of people's tongues. Now, this is an interesting project for me, okay? Newcastle, if you will, is new money. Newcastle is going to revitalize that roster, going to do anything they do to inject life into it in the way that we've seen PSG do, in the way that we saw Chelsea do it back in the day, throwing dollars at it. Look at that. That's the competition, right? Don't focus too much here, because those are goal scorers, right? Okay, Alan St. Maximin. Okay, Miguel Almiron, another one. Matt Ritchie, Murphy. Those are the few that he would probably fight time over with. If you're Christian Pulisic, you take your chances there. If it's a loan, because you said it, it's 90 days. I need to play today. Realistically, Christian Pulisic could be at Chelsea not playing, and that's not going to affect his U.S. men's national team standing at the World Cup. You know this. He's still going to play. Greg Berhalter's still going to trust him. But you need to be playing. You need to be happy. You need to be in rhythm heading into that World Cup. The timing of this World Cup is so terrible. It's going to put players in a predicament where they need to be playing. They need to be running all cylinders, and they need to be heading in with rhythm.
So you mentioned Newcastle. I think The Athletic were the first to report it, but I saw today a report from a Newcastle-based journalist. So it's now picking up steam in a lot of different places, the Christian Pulisic to Newcastle link. We saw that list of players, right? Let's really think about the players who play in his wide attacking positions, right? Because I think that's where we want to see him most. We saw Alan Saint-Maximin there, who is the guy, right? That is their guy in that role.
He may not stay.
Newcastle just greenlit a potential transfer for him, right? So he may be out the door. And the other guy that starts there is Miguel Almiron, which, as much love as we have here and as MLS fans might have for Miguel Almiron, this is not a guy who has been productive in the Premier League. He had 1 goal last year. His best Premier League season is 4 goals. That's Christian Pulisic's worst Premier League season. So I think if you're Christian Pulisic, you're walking into a starting spot at Newcastle. It's perfect, right, Herc?
It's perfect, and you've said the most important thing here. It's a loan deal. So they'll take the wages on, but you get him back. He could have a great World Cup. You could do something else if you're Chelsea later on. The fact that you stated that he may outlast Thomas Tuchel is a reality in sports. The players will outlast the managers in what is professional sports a lot of the times. This is a harsh reality of this business. So you're right on track. And there is an American owner who might have some interest in Christian Pulisic sticking around. I don't think we've seen, the best of Christian Pulisic with Chelsea, and he's won a Champions League.
Yep. One more note on this from the Newcastle perspective. Eddie Howe, the manager, is known, I think, to get a lot out of attacking players and likes to play kind of an aggressive style. At least he did when he was at Bournemouth. But he was quoted yesterday talking about players coming on loan who may have a future return to their clubs in mind. He said he would be, quote, reluctant to make moves like that. So if Pulisic is thinking about Newcastle, at least as a short-term possibility, I don't know how well that'll go over with the manager, Eddie Howe, but we'll have to see about that. Again, 2 weeks left in the transfer window.
Thanks so much for watching ESPN on YouTube. And for more sports highlights and analysis, be sure to download the ESPN app. And for premium content and live streaming, subscribe to ESPN Plus.